So I've been on the Reddit, on the Snark Reddit. There have been a lot of no one talking specifically, making posts about North Star Radio, just like making comments, being like, "I can't wait for North Star Radio to talk about this latest episode," and it's just so funny to me. All the people so obsessed. I'm clearly obsessed, but I'm a fan, so I deserve the right. So I want to see what this person has to say because why not? I'm gonna speed it up probably just a tiny bit because I hate listening to people talk. But let's go. Made the music ominous even more so.
I've never in my entire career been against such a dishonest, like hateful, persistently, like they're dirty, they don't care, they'll outwardly lie. This is an ongoing.
I just want to point. This is a dumb critique, but I just like that the editing, you can clearly see that they just plopped this over. They did no job at trying to sync or I think they did. I think they just messed with the opacity though, because you can clearly see on this side that it just fully covers any type of wrinkles.
Instantly, like,
but again,
they're dirty, they don't care, they'll outwardly lie. This is an ongoing like joke with this community. These are just benign dudes. Just I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or boxes or something, like they're helping. This is what it is online. Hassan's community are the most psychotic people on the internet.
He's a liar, dude.
I hate to say it, but I do think it's related. I mean, it's kind of Stalinist. The way that they'll just lie and say anything to frame anyone for anything. It had just been discovered around the same time as this Arab tier list that Twitch had secretly, without announcing it anywhere, banned the entire country of Israel from creating new accounts.
They're just like
You played that for literally a fucking frame. What the fuck?
The entire country of Israel from creating new accounts.
Are you saying that wasn't true? They literally made a statement. Twitch made a statement saying, let's see if he shows a post.
they're just like in too deep on whatever the certain narrative is that they're committed to. I feel like the reason I brought it up was mainly to express the frustration with Bibi and him firing the one guy that was somewhat, attempting at moderation. It wasn't really so much to say Gallant is a good guy. I shouldn't have used that word. That was a bad choice on my part, considering stuff that he said that I was not even thinking of. There's no room to allow
They have to win.
anything that deviates a little bit from no, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy.
All right, so these guys are clearly the bad guys.
There's nothing in between.
There's a story. They have a story that they cannot deviate from, no matter what. The artist I wanted to collaborate with decided I don't want to be associated because I'm Israeli. When we talk about how serious the rise in anti-Semitism, this is why it's scary for us. It's now so casual to just not want to associate with an Israeli just because I was born there. And this is the result of Hassan's type of activism. This is the result of this activism that this is the result of Hassan's activism. This is what it resounds to. This is the fault of people like Hassan. Zero progress for people in Gaza.
Last week, Ethan Klein released the long-awaited content nuke on Hassan Piker, his magnum opus, 2 months in the making, designed to end the career of Hassan Piker and anyone else in his political Twitch streaming orbit. Well, not anyone, mostly just Arabs and Arab women in particular. This video, from a metric standpoint, was a success. I mean, the H3 podcast hasn't hit 1 million views in 3 months, the last 1 million view video being entirely about Hassan. Ethan seemed to notice this trend and decided to go all out on a 2-hour crash out content nuke to get it all off his chest.
Saying that's the reason why feels a bit disingenuous, if we're being honest. You can say that that's a contributing factor, but to say that that is the main reason was because they weren't getting views is, I feel like, blatantly untrue. Especially because they didn't post it on the podcast channel. They posted it on an account that hasn't posted in 4 years. So, kind of a moot point, but continue.
Or so we hoped, as the last 3 episodes of the H3 podcast have also been entirely about Hassan Piker. And in those 3 episodes, Ethan has really dug his own grave.
So I'm making like a kind of point to point out all of these claims as they're being made. I couldn't find the tweet. Maybe he'll show it as they continue. I'll keep looking for it. But so they did make 3 episodes. And all of them didn't do that well. Oh, well, this one was really short because they actually ended early. This was the following week, though, to do a recap of what happened. And again, they're just segments. The whole podcast is not about what the title is. And honestly, if they thought, again, if this was the goal, they would have done it more consistently. So they did do another one here. But this was being sued. And they've kind of went off. Now they're realizing the Reddit's really paying off. That's why they did it. That's why they did it twice here, you see. I mean, you could say they haven't broke 1 million, but getting 500K a video, like per stream, 3 times a week.
Showing us all that he truly is a shell of his former self.
Someone who has any sort of kindness in their heart.
I'm unkind now.
Wait, what is he talking about?
I'm a meanie head. He says, you have to be a total meanie head to make that video he made about me, which I haven't watched. Did you just call me a meanie head?
What? We're talking about kindness?
Yeah, are we doing...
We're way past that, Hassan. We hate you.
Yeah, no, it's...
Did you not get the memo?
I mean, what's kind about telling survivors that they're lying?
I'm currently working on a video going point by point through the content nuke and debunking the obviously incorrect claims. But today, I just want to take a quick look at the fallout of this nuke. Because Hassan is still averaging 40,000 live viewers, Ethan is still widely hated by the internet, and Hila Klein is losing business.
He's widely hated by the internet. These are fringe communities at the end of the day. I think we have to acknowledge that. Even in the whole point that Ethan was making is not that Hassan is this huge figure that is spreading this evil across the entire internet. The point is that it's platforming perpetuation, the spreading of this ideology. That was the critique. I mean, I don't know. It's just stupid to be like, he's widely hated by the internet. I think most of the internet probably doesn't know who he is, if we're being completely honest.
The content nuke aimed for Hassan has backfired in an incredibly satisfying manner. Today's broadcast is brought to you by viewers like you. Become a member today and unlock exclusive content at patreon.com/NorthstarRadio. On the first episode back, Ethan basically himself off reacting to his own video.
Oh, you missed it? Let me go back.
Oh yeah, we gotta see that.
I was doing some high level here, Dan. I had to do a tutorial for this part.
Selling a flag in the middle of campus, carried it to a mob by the gate that were communicating with the angry mobs outside of campus.
Untrained, inbred asses shipped into southern Lebanon, telling us that we are all inbred and that we have no culture.
Oh, again.
I believe it was a some kind of block swipe.
Yeah, block.
Yeah.
Very good.
And this is where Ethan's cognitive state comes into question, because this dude is so clearly not doing okay. While reacting to Hassan's response to the content nuke, Ethan claims that he's never tried to be a comedian.
Very intelligent. Definitely not a hack-ass, failed-ass, dumbass comedian.
Bro, I've never tried to be a comedian, a failed comedian. What are you talking about? It's not even a sore spot for me or anything, because I'm not a comedian. I've never tried to be a professional comedian.
This is despite Ethan calling himself a professional comedian over a dozen times throughout his career.
I'm a comedian. That's my job. I'm a comedian, right? I'm trying to make a job. I know it looks crazy. I'm a comedian.
I mean, he still says this. Is this a claim? I mean...
Comedian.
Bro, I've never tried...
Hack-ass, failed-ass, dumbass comedian.
Bro... I've never tried to be a comedian, a failed comedian. What are you talking about? It's not even a sore spot for me or anything, because I'm not a comedian. I've never tried to be a professional comedian.
This is despite Ethan calling himself a professional comedian over a dozen times throughout his career.
I'm a comedian. That's my job. I'm a comedian, right? I'm trying to make a job. I know it looks crazy.
Again, this is all like mincing words. This is all like semantical arguments. He's arguing about, you're a washed up, failed comedian. Ethan's saying, I never tried to do comedy. I never tried to do stand-up. That's the point that he's making. And that was basically the point that Hassan was making, is that you're like a failed stand-up. And if that's not the point Hassan was making, that's even more stupid.
a comedian and people are laughing. I'm like you, I'm a comedian, not a journalist, so I have a little more leeway. I'm a comedian, you know what I mean? I criticize people, I'm a comedian. First of all, I'm a comedian, so anything I say being considered defamation is almost like impossible. I had an idea, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm a comedian, you know, I'm out here, I'm in different lanes. I'm a professional comedian. Are any of them? I'm a professional comedian, you know what I mean? I'm the last line of defense, okay? I'm a professional comedian. Do you know that?
You know you're winning the debate when you start bringing up theories about Hasan's dog Kaya or who cooks him food off camera.
Comedian. In air quotes.
Ooh! Ooh!
I didn't even hear what you said.
Not funny.
Air quotes.
Not funny. It's just like you're a socialist. By the way, theory time, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. Hasan says he adopted his dog. He went all...
I'm trying to find the exact moment. But, I mean, if we want to, again, make critiques, this is the same as Hasan recently saying, I never claimed to be a journalist. But when talking to who he thought was a Houthi, saying, oh, I'm a journalist, guys. I can talk to whoever I want. So, I mean, if we want to, like, what's worse? Claiming to be a comedian and then not, or claiming to be a journalist and then not? What's worse there? I'm trying to find the moments too, because I'm pretty sure in those clips where Ethan's going, I'm a comedian. If I'm recalling correctly, there are many moments where he goes, I'm a comedian. I've never done stand-up. Never tried to do stand-up. Because that's always the caveat, if you will.
All over LA looking for the perfect dog. Oh, I went to all of these pounds. I couldn't find the perfect dog. But then magically, off camera, I found on Craigslist this post where they were giving away $20,000 designer dogs. And I was so lucky. Hasan Piker. Can anybody find me a Craigslist post where they're giving away $20,000 designer dogs? Because I'd like to inquire. He bought that dog, and he doesn't want to admit it, obviously. And by the way, I don't know. That's not the only lie he tells about his personal life. I did a story about it, but people didn't pick it up. I don't give a f. This guy's a piece of shit. People need to ask Hasan who's cooking his chicken off screen. Who's cooking that chicken? Who's taking care of him? There's something he goes, don't tell anyone though, for obvious reasons. Somebody's cooking his chicken, and they don't look like they're getting a piece of the pie either. You know what I mean? They're not on that socialist. They're not on that socialized workplace salary. You know what I mean? Cooking chicken's a big deal. That's integral to his daily routine. Of course he's entitled to a % of his profits. Duh. Socialism, bro. Live it, bro. Live it. Be the socialist you say you are.
I think this is an important time to mention that it's well-known lore that Ethan was neglected as a child and was often sent to school with zero food to eat and zero lunch money.
My parents did.
I mean, it's like broke people shit. But I'm sorry, there was one point I think I missed just a second ago.
I mean, cooking chicken's a big deal. That's integral to his daily routine. Of course he's entitled to a % of his profits. Duh. Socialism, bro. Live it, bro. Live it. Be the socialist you say you are.
God damn it, I can't read fast enough.
Live it. Be the socialist you say you are.
Superior Court of the State of California in and for the County of Los Angeles. Oh, is this about the recent thing? We talked about this last week. That's just stupid. The point isn't about that you can't have like incidents with your employees. Ethan believes that can happen because he believes in capitalism. But if you believe in socialism, then you should be living up to those values. I don't understand how people can misinterpret this so harshly. It's like he's saying, why aren't you living up to socialist values? You're saying that you're a socialist. And then people go, well, Ethan, you're not living up to socialist values. It's like, what are you talking about? Pay state and local minimum wage. Failure to pay all wages due. So this, again, let's look at all the evidence available. Ethan said, we'll look at previously on...
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Amazing. Ethan said this. I'll even take it a step further. I bet that me, Ethan Klein, the capitalist, pays his housekeeper more than Hasan. Ours has health insurance, vision, dental, 401k, paid vacation, and sick days. Plus a very good salary. I'll donate $100,000 to charity if Hasan can prove he pays his housekeeper more than me. So he's making a very big claim here that could be very easily disproven if Hassan wants to take the bet. I don't think Hassan wants to take the bet. And then also, again, if these claims are false, Hassan should just sue him for defamation and then use that money to support charities or whatever. No, I met her. She's a lovely Hispanic lady. We've all seen this. He talks about how he met that lady and that she works at, he's seen her work. So, okay.
I think this is an important time to mention that it's well-known lore that Ethan was neglected as a child and was often sent to school with zero food to eat and zero lunch money.
My parents didn't take care of me as a kid. When they cooked, which was rare, it was just awful. I didn't eat. I would starve. It was that bad. I used to go to school. My parents wouldn't give me money, and they didn't make me a lunch. I would just starve. I would beg for food from my friends. Straight up, I would beg for food from my friends. I was a homeless child.
Ethan can't even...
Do not all schools have a free lunch? I remember doing that. Not often, but you did it every once in a while as a kid. I also just got free lunch because my parents were lower income. But I remember them having just like peanut butter sandwiches if you didn't bring a lunch and you couldn't afford anything.
Even fathom the idea of a loving parent.
His whole shtick for the past year has been saying liberal Zionist talking points and then getting mad at everyone when they go, "Are you a Zionist?"
What liberal... Bro, the fantasy world that they've built is incredible. What is a liberal Zionist talking point?
Ethan did so much research for this video, but has yet to understand what a liberal Zionist talking point is. Here are just a few examples.
People who would like to criticize the army in Israel need to understand that it's a daily threat, that something needs to happen about it. It's not like we have a choice.
When you talk about privilege, let's talk about someone who's going to UC Berkeley, paid by their parents, $200,000 tuition on campus protesting Israel. Do you find that?
Wait, so liberal Zionist talking points are just nuanced perspectives? Somebody who can look at something more deeply than just, you're in the military, that's bad. They were doing what they were told? And obviously that sounds bad because the Nazis were just doing what some people would say they were just doing what they were told. But my point is just that they are in a situation where they need militarization. They are facing a militarized force. And thus, it is a necessity to have a military available for them.
Isn't that ironic?
I personally think it's so ironic. I don't know, it's kids sitting here in like beautiful California criticizing, like you don't even know what you're talking about.
What you hear is people criticizing national security and calling Israel like apartheid, that they shouldn't have fences, or that Israel should be a one state with Palestinians and Israel all living together. They should reduce the borders and remove the gate. That to me seems like super ignorant.
It is, because when I grew up, I couldn't really take a bus. I was afraid of blowing up.
Right.
And now it doesn't really happen. So the wall did help.
There's a state of Palestine. It makes sense. But if you're in one state...
Are we just going to ignore that point that she just made, that she as a child feared getting blown up? And you could say, oh, that's just her being racist. Go look up how many like suicide bombings happen in Israel. Like within the last 25 years, even. Like, it's a lot. But you just want to ignore that point and be like, see? You feared a Muslim person? You're Islamophobic. You're Islamophobic.
All that's going to happen is like everybody is...
I don't fear Muslims. I fear terrorists. And there are Christian terrorists. There are... I haven't seen many Jewish terrorists, but I'm sure they're out there. And I mean, if you want to call certain Israeli soldiers that are going out and terrorizing people, sure, it's bad. Let's throw them in prison. I don't think anyone's against that.
Trying to bring as many people there as possible. And like by the time, there frankly are a lot of Palestinians, right, in the area. And once the Palestinians outnumber the Jews, basically anything is fair game for the Jews. Anything.
So in this response, Hassan calls out Ethan for, quote, crying like a bitch in their last...
You just ignored all the points that were made. Those were actual, like, valid perspectives. Because, yes, when you let the Jewish people become a minority in the Middle East, you've seen it happen in other countries. They experience bad conditions, if you want to just go broadly. I just think, whatever. We'll just continue. He wants to move on. Whatever.
Last conversation on Palestine.
You can talk to me in person, big dog. You got my phone number.
I'm not the one. I'm the like Ethan and Hila said. I'm basically the white kid in California that can't they doesn't have room to speak on this. So I'm not even going to try and explain the actual like legitimate concern that is involved in that. But whatever.
We can have a conversation on your stream. We can have a conversation on my stream. Last time I had the baby gloves on.
Stop looking down, bitch. Look in my eyes. Little pussy. Scared? Keep looking down for.
You cried like a bitch after doing Teddy Fresh ads in the midst of our genocide coverage.
Ethan sees this as an opportunity to...
He's scared. He's skittish. He can't look directly in the camera. I have no fear in my heart. You don't scare me. But he just keeps... I don't know. It's just... maybe it's just a quirk. He's just a little quirky like that.
To dunk on Hassan for being some sort of toxic masculinity frat bro.
So Hassan says, last time, which was our last conversation on his stream, I had the baby gloves on, which was part of, I was like, dude, why are you patronizing me? And he goes, and then you cried like a bitch. Once again, this dude is against toxic masculinity. Apparently, he's a role model for leftist values. The frat bro veneer it's rearing its head. I'm telling you this.
Low key, here's my perspective on crying. I cry a lot. I cry all the fucking time. When I was door dashing, I would cry sometimes, and then I would just go and pick up food and just go and leave and go deliver it. What are they going to do? Ask me like, oh, is everything all right? You know, how are you going to help me? It doesn't matter. So I cry, let it happen. But if someone's like, oh, you're crying like a bitch, bro, I'll cry and beat your ass. So it's kind of a weird thing to say, like, oh, you were crying like a bitch. I was expressing the emotions that have overwhelmed me. You want to talk about it, let's knuckle up. But other than that, like, shut the fuck up.
This whole left-wing illusion is...
I'm sorry, it makes me mad when people talk about crying, because I do cry a lot. I'll admit to that. I whine a lot, I scream a lot. But realistically, it's like, are we supposed to encourage like sociopathic, antisocial, just like... Stoicism is cool in philosophy. In action, it ends in a lot of bad ways.
Falling
often
to the wayside. You say I cried like a bitch.
And only 2 days after the fact, Ethan went on a misogynistic rant about denims, where he called her a disgusting bitch several times. Of course, while his crew was dead silent.
Why did he do that?
And yes, she is a fucking bitch. Somebody that laughs.
Huh? Wait, but why would he do that? Is it because she denied the person who came forward about their sexual assault? Wait, he just called her a bitch randomly? It's not because she was denying the people who came forward about being raped minutes after being like, we believe everybody. We believe everyone. Wasn't she lying?
In the face of other rape victims and
this guy was literally put in the beginning of this video. Oh, it's all out of context. It's all lies. It's all spreading misinformation. This is the video that people want to see?
Immediately calls
that all
them
the
liars?
snarkers are like circle jerking
about?
There
are reports of Palestinian women in captivity talking about that experience.
Let's see. I found one of the sources. One of the ones that you quoted was like, I don't even know what the this is. CARE.
It looks like he's doing his Uncle Fester look here. Both of his eyes are like sunken in. Jesus.
.com. It's literally just like a little blurb. That's a huge claim. 15 Palestinian women were... What? I don't know what this is. What is this? Is this a source?
You're asking if it's credible.
Yeah. Yes, CARE is credible. I think, at least.
What is
CARE is?
There's no source. She is earning the coveted.
So again, let's look at the differences here. Let's draw the distinct differences. This is a random source. This is a random website. Hassan goes, it's a good source, in my opinion. So he doesn't even know the credibility of this site. It says, and Ethan isn't denying it. He's just saying, where's this source? Because it's saying, a Palestinian female freed from Israeli detention said more than 15 fellow Palestinian women were raped by Israeli interrogators to force them to confess to charges levied against them and collaborate with the Israeli intelligence. Israeli investigators and intelligence officers keep videotapes on... Yeah, these are quotes. So what are these quotes from? Because if these are supposed to be from an article or from a interview or from anything, it should have a source that's cited or a person that is named, not just like, and I'm not saying this didn't happen. And if it did, it's fucking terrible. But to use this compare to
there's
no source. She is earning.
To compare to a woman coming forward, this is critiquing a secondary source versus critiquing a primary source. Denham's critiqued the primary source of a woman who is saying that she had been raped. Ethan is questioning the validity, not even denying, but questioning the validity of a secondary source that does not actually have any sourcing for its claim. It just says a Palestinian woman. Those are not the same thing at all.
The coveted distinction of being a fucking bitch. Congratulations. Enjoy the distinction. I've come here and I've made the distinction. I have decreed, let it be known, that Denham's is a dumb fucking bitch. She deserved that. What she was doing, I'm standing by every syllable of that, okay? What she did was abhorrent. And by the way,
you can't deny that's hilarious. You guys, I just love that they want to like pick and choose. They're going to laugh at Frogan being like, hey, you should get PTSD. That's not even a joke. This is objectively hilarious. To obviously about to be going on a tangent, we don't need to know what he said. We know he said something fucking terrible.
Oh, and I got another shout out in this video.
Sure.
Thanks for keeping the Comrade Casey spirit alive.
You spent the next year constantly ripping into, suspiciously, a lot of, not myself, but other people of color. I'm not calling myself a person of color. I know it's going to get clipped out of context here as well, and then you're going to be like, meh, whatever. No, just noticing that you have just been going after a lot of...
This guy is really throwing spaghetti at the wall. He's accused me of being racist. And that, to me, is like, my eyes rolled all the way in the back of my head if I had a seizure. Going after brown people, I'm assuming he's talking about people like Frogan and others who, by the way, I have never attacked unprovoked. Every single time I've talked about Frogan was a direct response to her. Every time. So what, she's brown? That's your takeaway? Is that because she's brown? That's the only reason I care that she's making fun of October 7th victims? That she's brown? That's for real? Are you being serious right now? Are you actually being serious right now? You're actually making this point right now. Okay, exactly. This is the brown people that he's talking about. Yeah, Casey... Comrade Casey, who's waiting for a hot, bodacious hijabi babe in the park.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Let's not forget about that.
The only, like, dark aspect of her is her makeup and her hijab. She is very white passing. That isn't to say you cannot be Islamophobic or racist to Arabs who are white passing. You definitely can. But it's weird to just keep calling them brown people. Calling them brown people over and over again is weird. Why are you lumping everyone together?
That's what woke leftist non-toxic masculinity looks like.
So this is the part of the video that I love so much. Because Ethan did basically zero research for his big content nuke that took 2 months, he makes a fool of himself twice with this one clip. First, it's on H3 Show 105, where Ethan reacts to a compilation of Hassan calling Jewish supremacists inbred.
Inbred douchebags in the background.
Like, these are just dudes standing back there.
Okay, yes, he was wrong about this. Those guys were trying to stop aid or something like that. But the criticism is still valid because I realized the problem in our world is, I won't say it here, but the R word. How and people like Hassan have just gone forward and just started saying people are neurodivergent instead. The problem isn't saying words that diminish other people. Because it's like, oh, if you say this word, you're going to diminish the people with intellectual disabilities. The problem is trying to diminish people at all. Just criticize the substance of their claims or criticize the actual validity of the facts they're bringing forward. Trying to plainly bring anyone down should be considered wrong, because you can also joke about somebody. You can make pretty clear jokes about somebody without going for the lowest blow. Like, you can critique someone's intelligence without just going, you're stupid. because even saying you're stupid, idiot, all of those words used to be IQ terms. So I don't know. It's not about using that, I guess.
Entirely comprised of messy.
And this is an ongoing like joke with this community. These are just benign dudes. Just I don't know what the they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or boxes or something, like they're helping. And he's going, oh, look at these f***s. It's like, bro, who are you? Who are you? Like, how dare you?
Yeah, so Ethan just straight up admits that he used footage as evidence in his content nuke without even understanding the context of the clip itself. It's almost like he didn't clip this himself from the original source, but instead found the clip online, probably on one specific subreddit. In this clip, Hasan is watching a group of Jewish supremacist Nazis, basically, blocking aid trucks from entering Gaza and stealing and destroying...
Oh, I love that. Oh, that was so great. Just slipping it in. Far right is basically Nazis.
Destroying the aid inside. They're not doing charity like Ethan thinks they are.
This comes just days after.
Yeah, and these guys are pieces of shit. You know, I'm sure at least a couple of these dudes are brown. Are you going to start calling them like Islam or, you know, what do you say for racist to Middle Eastern people? Is Islamophobics for Muslims? Whatever. How do you? Would you say something racist to them? Is it okay? Like Hasan calls people cracker all the time. It's like that. That's cool.
After Israeli settlers blocked
or he
aid
used
trucks
to. Sorry, used
headed to Gaza through the occupied West Bank from Jordan. Footage of the incident shows settlers raiding the aid trucks, throwing food into the road and setting fire to vehicles at the Tarkumia checkpoint near Hebron in the occupied West Bank. Palestinian truck drivers say they fear for their lives after the attack.
We went to the checkpoint, and after the check, we were surprised to see settlers on the roundabout of the checkpoint. They damaged the cars, they tore the tires off.
They're pieces of shit because they're throwing stuff into the street, not because they're inbred. Them being inbred is just products of their circumstance. They can't help that part.
Trucks. They threw the contents of the truck on the ground. We gathered some of the products and sent some of those products onto a bulldozer and sent them to the street farms. Around 15 trucks were damaged. Their hull was damaged. Windows of the trucks were broken. Some drivers were beaten. Some of the products were thrown away. And the whole loss for Hebron is around $2 million.
And then on H3 Show 107, Ethan reacts to Hasan watching this clip, but once again takes it out of context and makes himself look like a fool all over again.
And at a certain point, people are going to be like, you're using these sorts of clips out of context?
Bro, he is so pathetic. First of all, he hasn't watched the video. And this is like one of his main go-tos for any criticism. It's always like...
He got the context wrong in that podcast, but the context of the video does not help with the point that is being made in the original video, that the Hasan nuke.
Out of context. He hasn't watched the video. What's out of context, bro? Your reaction is out of context. You got no context.
Notice how you move the needle? You move the goalpost. I said that it's out of context. You demanded I describe to you what the context is, and you immediately moved on, and you're like, well, that's not the major point of the...
But you didn't...
What is he talking about?
Apparently a chatter is calling him out like, he says, how do you know the context? You haven't watched the video, I'm assuming. Was it? But then he goes, oh, really? Well, you moved the goalpost. It's like, but you didn't answer. You didn't tell him what the context is, so...
Well... Sometimes context changes the entire point, but it's like sometimes context doesn't matter. Is there a context where having sex with a drunk girl is somehow okay? No. So like sometimes there's just not context doesn't matter.
There's no kick. When you move the goalpost, you're moving it further from the kick. There's no kick.
At a certain point, you have to understand, like, okay, well, if this is incorrect, do you like being incorrect?
Can anybody tell me what the he's talking about? He hasn't watched it. He hasn't cited anything that's out of context. He's talking about, oh, you're incorrect and you like... What is he talking about? How do people watch him? He literally will talk and drone on about nothing. He just regurgitates words. It's just word vomit.
Like, what are you talking about? You're making it seem like this is a formative work. It's very clear what the intention of the video is.
Dude, you haven't seen it.
And also, notice how you move the needle? You move the goalpost. I said that it's out of context. You demanded I describe to you what the context is, and you immediately moved on, and you're like, well, that's not the major point of the video.
You didn't do the context thing. You didn't explain
At a certain point, at a certain point, you have to understand, like, okay, well, if this is incorrect, do you like being incorrect? I guess you do.
How do you know they're incorrect? He's not. What is he saying?
If you missed it, here's the part of the video Ethan very conveniently skips over.
Chatter was asking for how certain things are clipped out of context. Here, this is a great example. Inbred douchebags in the background,
just dudes standing back there,
entirely comprised of.
And this is an ongoing like joke with this community. These are just benign dudes. Just I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They did watch this. They did talk about this.
It looks like they're doing charity or something.
I don't know if they watched this clip, but I remember they did talk about the fact that they were wrong. They brought it up later in that episode. So did you watch his full fucking podcast episode? Because you didn't see that later in that same episode, they brought up, oh wait, like let me see if I can find it. What podcast was this from? Because they literally brought it up that those guys were doing bad stuff. But again, the point isn't about if these are good people or not. It's about how you criticize them.
About water or box.
They're doing charity. Remember, by the way, this is a video that he quote unquote researched for months.
Because just because there were Nazis does not mean that you should be criticizing them as Germans. Like that is the comparison. Hit comrade with a dislike. This one, you got it. It really is just. It's a lot. It's a lot. Thank you though. I really do appreciate you for coming in.
Or something like they're helping, and he's going, "Oh, look at these." It's like, bro, who are you? Like, how dare you?
Guys, the Israeli police is investigating the attack on the Gaza aid convoy.
Israeli security forces are paid to stop this happening. They either could not or would not, but clearly did not.
Here, I'm literally going to. Okay, I need to find it real quick, but.
Not prevent Israeli settlers attacking an aid convoy yesterday from the West Bank bound for Gaza, where, say aid agencies, hundreds of thousands of civilians face famine.
But during the unloading and loading, settlers attacked these trucks, destroying the products and burning them in a systematic act of sabotage.
A continuation of images seen yesterday as settlers destroyed food at the same crossing point.
So, does that make sense? Do you understand now? And I mean every single clip that he used, every single one, is exactly like this. Where's that one chatter who asked that question? I assume he f***ed off immediately after saying.
Did he say 106 or 107? Oh, it was this one? Yep, it was 105. There we go. Here we go. So, this guy wants to talk about, oh, you don't look at the context of things. You didn't watch Hassan's full stream. Hassan streams for what, 8 hours a day? This is from a podcast that was three and a half hours. In the same one where he's criticizing him, and they talk about the workers, wherever they are. Later in that same episode, they bring it up.
Writing straight up anti-Semitism. Who are you? Like, how dare you?
Guys, the Israeli police is investigating the attack on the Gaza aid convoy.
Israeli security forces are paid to stop this happening. They either could not or would.
So they literally watch. Wait. So they literally watch this clip. But am I tripping, or are they not watching the same video in that?
Guys, the Israeli police is investigating.
Context from Hassan's stream. There we go. It's like a 1-to-1. So literally.
The attack on the Gaza aid convoy.
Israeli security forces are paid to stop this happening. They either could not or would not, but clearly did not prevent Israeli settlers attacking an aid convoy yesterday from the West Bank bound for Gaza, where, say aid agencies, hundreds of thousands of civilians face famine.
But during the unloading and loading, settlers attacked these trucks, destroying the products and burning them in a systematic act of sabotage.
A continuation of images seen yesterday as settlers destroyed food at the same crossing point.
So, does that make sense? Do you understand now? Every single clip that he used, every single one, is exactly like this. Where's that one chatter who asked that?
So again, you watched an out-of-clip context when in reality they got the context for that clip later on in the stream and were able to decipher the information. Just saying.
I assume he f***ed off immediately after coming in and saying like this is he said some other stupid shit. I mean, that's clearly not the messaging of the video. If you're saying his claim is you scared him, do you have any media literacy whatsoever? Do you think I need media literacy to understand a YouTube drama slop video? Like, what are you talking about?
Probably not, but maybe a little bit.
Making it seem like this is a formative work. It's very clear what the intention of the video is. And also, notice how you move the needle, you move the goalpost. I said that it's out of context. You demanded I described to you what the context is, and you immediately moved on, and you're like, well, that's not the major point of the.
But you didn't.
What is he talking about?
Apparently, a chatter's calling him out. Like, he says, how do you know the context? You don't watch the video. I'm assuming. Was it? But then he goes, oh, really? Well, you moved the goalpost. It's like, but you didn't answer. You didn't tell him what the context is. So there was no kick. When you move the goalpost, you're moving it further from the kick. There's no kick.
At a certain point, you have to understand, like, okay, well, if this is incorrect, Do you like being incorrect?
Can anybody tell me what the he's talking about? He hasn't watched it. He hasn't cited anything that's out of context. He's talking about, oh, you're incorrect and you like, what is he talking about? How do people watch him? He literally will talk and drone on about nothing.
I mean, how can you be so confident in your hallucinations that you make such a foolish error? I guess when your very progressive audience gets replaced with Destiny fans who flood your subreddit with clipped out of context footage, that's how it happens. Oh, but Ethan doesn't know Destiny, so that can't.
I think people don't realize Destiny's fans aren't as like derangedly obsessed with him as Hasan's fans, because I used to like Destiny a bit, his takes and stuff on certain things, but after all this recent stuff, I just kind of quit cold turkey and went, okay, bro's a bad guy, I'll go watch Loner Box, there's other people we can listen to. It's not that hard.
Can't possibly be the case, even though this post and this post and this post and this post were either from the Destiny subreddit or from the H3 subreddit posted by someone active on the Destiny subreddit.
It's just funny to make this claim because they're from Hasan's stream. Get it back from the source. It's like looking... I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like thinking that rain starts as droplets. You know what I mean? It's like I don't get it. It really is just stupid.
Subreddit. I mean, just look at this chart from overlapping communities on Reddit. The blowback from the content nuke really started to materialize in H3 show 106.
Because honestly, I won't even deny, I think Ethan probably did source a lot of his clips from Destiny's subreddit and through like different channels like that. I don't think that that's far like a far claim to make, like something that's out of reach. But I don't think that changes any point that he's made. Like a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So like, who cares?
Hello, my friends. We are here. We are back. There's just way too much to talk about. Never ending, guys.
But that's the point. When a broken clock is wrong twice a day, when a broken clock is right twice a day, you have to do your job to then double check. Look at the sun, look at the ground, look at the shadows, look at a different clock. You have to do the step beyond to go and do more research.
Appreciate y'all being here. Thank you to GamerSupps for sponsoring us today. Thank you to the gang. What's up, people of the world?
The content nuke clearly didn't work as intended, so Ethan begins gleefully reacting to Trump saying he's going to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip, all the while Ethan blaming this on Hasan.
Trump has had some brilliant ideas on Gaza, once again reminding people that I voted and advocated for Kamala Harris, and Hasan did not.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I envision a world... people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international unbelievable
hotels.
place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip
Gambling.
is unbelievable.
And you know he's going to call it like the Trump Strip.
Mara Gaza.
Mara Gaza.
Mara Gaza.
And I'll tell you who wouldn't be clearing out Gaza to build casinos.
I think the better joke there is Gaza Lago, but we'll give it to you, Zach.
Kamala Harris.
I think it's
I can with 100% certainty say that the two candidates are not the same. I did my part to stop this. I wish I could say the same for other folks. It's a shame. I want to say this right now. If you are a leftist who said, I'm abstaining from voting for Kamala. If you are a leftist who said Kamala and Trump are the same on this issue. If you are a leftist who voted for Jill Stein, I say this, and I know you guys are shitting and pissing the bed and doing everything you can to pretend like this take is like the worst, dumbest, most outlandish, and also probably racist thing you could say. This is all in your lap, and you don't get to say shit. All these people are going to be like, Trump, I can't believe. No, you just sit down and take it, because this is all on you, and I don't give a what you say. This is what this kind of activism that Hasan and people like him, this is the outcome of their activism. It is, people need to start thinking about, like, what is this level of activism we see of like extraordinarily extremist, zero nuance, straight up hateful, uncompromising, you know, what is the outcome of this level of activism. What have they done for Gaza? Literally, what have they done for Gaza? What have they done for Gaza? Serious, I'm being dead serious. They've done nothing. They are ineffective, completely worthless as advocacy goes. A total failed movement.
And then the CEO of Teddy Fresh joined in on the blowback. What up, Ela Kleiners? She posted this on her Instagram story. This
I love that he keeps showing these clips. And like literally it's a clip of them going like, oh, you didn't do anything. You haven't shown it. And I was thinking like, oh, maybe he's about to show how Hasan donated. He's about to show like a clip of Hasan doing like this big campaign where he actually got like this new advocacy group that came, like, no. And then he just moves on. And then like, bro, what? Make a point. Make an actual articulate point. Like, what is happening?
This artist I wanted to collaborate with decided I can't be associated with because I'm Israeli. I've followed him for years, always supported him, and I have an original painting of his at my house. When we talk about how serious the rise in anti-Semitism is, this is why it's scary for us. It's now so casual to just not want to associate with an Israeli, just because I was born there. Where in this very short, polite email does it say anything about Ela being Israeli? I'm sorry.
There's an implication. What? Then you tell us the reason. Because they decided not to give a reason. So they were giving the one thing that they have been criticized for by many people. So.
Sorry, I can't be associated with this company. Thanks for the consideration. And Israel does not equal Judaism. How long is it going to take for these people to get this out of their heads? She then.
So, yes, she does bring up anti-Semitism, but the whole point was because she's saying, because I was born in Israel, that's why people don't want to associate with me.
When we talk about how serious the rise in Italy, just because I'm sorry, is it going to take for these people to get this out of their heads? She then decided to.
Yes, some Jewish people believe differently about Israel. They, and that's fine. People can have their own perspectives. That's the beauty of the world. That's the beauty of democracy, which is what you want to strive for. Just saying.
Into the show and whine about her experience as a marginalized Israeli.
This is the result of Hasan's type of activism, where there's zero space, forget nuance. I mean, it's like they're just all or nothing. Like, I mean, that's just not how the world works. It's just not how the world works. Should I out him?
It's not Alex Pardee. He's the saint. He's the best person.
Yeah, Alex is a sweetheart.
I don't know is it morally okay to say who.
And again, it was because it's someone that they had worked with prior. But yeah, it's like the whole thing is
whatever you guys think. I don't care.
I mean, if I say who he is, it's probably just to get a bunch of snarkers buying his art, but I don't care. People should be. I mean, listen, it's not right. What an asshole response to, like,
sorry, what I was going to say is it's someone that they had worked with prior, that they have art of in their home, I wonder if he's going to have that part in.
It's almost like and by the way, like, he doesn't even dignify you with a response of like, it's like, no, I can't be associated with this company. That's it. And you guys have had a relationship. Like, he knows you.
I'm just annoyed because it's not the first one. There's another person right now that is doing the same thing to me, somebody that I'm already working with. So, I don't know. This one really got to me because I have his art at my house, and it's like, what the do I do with that? I appreciate the art. I don't want to destroy it, but I also don't want it.
And this is the result of this activism that Hasan,
because that is why she assumes that it's because she's Israeli, because of all this new stuff that's happening between, especially all of the stuff that's happened recently with Trump. But it's just so dumb. I don't understand how you can't see that. It's pretty clear that she's assuming that because she's worked with him before. What other reason would he have other than, I started learning about Israel doing this stuff and I think it's wrong. So if you're from Israel and you support Israel, I can't support you. Even if he doesn't even think that and just thinks that it'll be a bad look for him because he thinks that his name associated with it will it'll get him a bunch of people calling him Islamophobic.
Result of Hasan's activism. This is what it resounds to. Alienation, hate, racism, and zero progress for people in Gaza. Zero. I mean,
he actively didn't help make sure we don't get Trump in office. So
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
No, I hope he's happy with Trump Lindia that we're gonna get there. There should be a Hasan Street there, the Hasan Square.
That's a good point. Hasan Piker Way.
Yeah.
I'll advocate for that, yeah.
Hasan Piker Avenue. I'll never understand the utter lack of empathy for non-combatants. That to me is forever the most baffling part of this whole conflict. I agree that it's just I don't understand how we do it in our own country too, where people look at like the military and go, "Oh, you're all evil," when it's like they are part of a greater structure that you can believe is doing wrong. But to believe that some like recruit is, you know what I mean, some random just lackey is some war, like he's the war criminal. They might have been committing war crimes, but I'd say the true war criminals are the people that, you know, put those actions into place, you know, that kind of set the dominoes in motion. And when it starts becoming things overseas, people just start associating the whole culture with its government and goes, "Oh, you're all doing this." And like I'm saying, it might not even be the whole thing of, "Oh, you're a part of it." I could assume that I would be willing to be fine with the idea that he thinks that he's just going to get blowback from it, which is still cowardly. You should be willing to stand on your principles if that is the case. But that's at least more understandable.
There are so many different explanations for this, and if this person really did know Hila and have a relationship with her already, there's no way the reason is because she's Israeli. They would have known that. Did they just find out?
But if there was a greater reason, they probably would have said it.
She's Israeli? It could be that he saw recent clips of her, I don't know, agreeing with Rudy Giuliani about 2-year-old Palestinians, or calling Yoav Gallant a good guy, or even older footage of her saying the apartheid wall is a good idea for her safety, or I don't know, the f***ing content nuke on Hassan. You yourself admit that this guy is a fan of Hassan, so he's probably very...
Wait. What was his claim right there?
So that's what I'm saying, yeah.
If this person really did know Hila and that, did they just find out she's Israeli? It could be that he saw recent clips of her, I don't know, agreeing with Rudy Giuliani about 2-year-old Palestinians, or calling Yoav Gallant a good guy, or even older footage of her saying the apartheid wall is a good idea for her safety, or I don't know, the f***ing content nuke on Hassan. You yourself...
So the content nuke on Hassan was the reason this guy doesn't want to work with them anymore. It's just the way these guys, they all love to paint the picture that Hassan is the voice of Palestine, because that's what he's implying there, that you're against Israel, so making this video on Hassan is going against Palestine. Hassan hates Israel, don't you know that? You said that their people are all right.
Admit that this guy is a fan of Hassan, so he's probably very supportive of Palestine. Chances are this dude probably assumed you were pro-Palestine, was proved otherwise, and politely told you he no longer wants to be associated with, probably assumed you were is a fan of Hassan, or I don't know, the f***ing content nuke on Hassan. You yourself admit that this guy is a fan of Hassan, so he's probably very supportive of Palestine. Chances are this dude probably assumed you were pro-Palestine, was proved otherwise, and politely told you...
I mean, sure, if that's your take on it, but it's still, again, to think that you can't work with people that you have differences to is a childish viewpoint. To think that you cannot get along with people you disagree with is for children.
He no longer wants to be associated with the company. Wait, what was the entire purpose of the content nuke on Hassan in the first place?
If you ever see Hassan rubbing shoulders with anyone from mainstream media, let them know politely, with all the civility in the world, what kind of person he is when he thinks mainstream media isn't watching. Help them understand that his name should be associated with people like Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones, other fringe, radical, political commentators. Number 2, Twitch must be held accountable. Twitch has proven that it will not change by choice, and so it is our moral imperative to enact that change through any reasonable...
These are all their sponsors, and listen, at a certain point, when you've pushed every button, pulled every lever, and nothing's working, when you've tried your best to give good faith feedback, and you think that something is that important to you, like, you have, in my opinion, a moral obligation, and what I see as a moral obligation, to pull whatever lever you can. And I don't give a, I am not too proud, and I am not above, you know, I don't give a shit, right? Like, if you've done something dumb enough that you can get easily by an email to the sponsors, that's something you have to reckon and deal with. I've been dealing with that my whole career, okay?
I mean, and that's just the point of those who, just because it was a mistake doesn't mean you shouldn't be reprimanded, honestly. North Star and all these dumbass leftists have the critical thinking skills of a 2-year-old. They can't, you search for confirmation bias. or you search with confirmation bias. You have a preconceived notion, and then all you're doing is looking for things that agree with you. And usually, I forget what the study was. There was like some study that had been done that showed that people believe more often than not the first thing that they heard, even when provided new evidence contrary to that. And I think it's true. And that's why you need to have this ability to disconnect yourself and look at things from an outside perspective and really try and rationalize not just the outside world, but your own analysis. Because if you can't analyze yourself, how can you analyze the world?
I wasn't gonna say it.
No, I am. I'm not. I don't hide from it. Everybody knows that.
Right.
I've been dealing with it for my whole career. Okay, and it's something you got to reckon with. It's something you got to deal with. But be accountable, man. And I have become accountable for a lot of things that people always send to the sponsors, and it's something you deal with. That's just life. And I think it's insane that all these brands are associating with Twitch when it's become a safe haven for extremist politics.
We all recall YouTube's adpocalypse. It happened when ads were running over ISIS recruitment videos, and it caused a brand exodus. The same thing is happening now on Twitch, but instead
send Stephen A. Smith to debate Hasan. I don't know what'll happen, but it'll be funny. Hasan goes to debate Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith goes, "So, have you heard of this Pokemon? His name is Blastoise. Blastoise is a water type. Hey, if you have him, you'll never be thirsty again." But yeah,
instead of ISIS, it's the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Dan Clancy's refusal to moderate extremists is the only reason for any of this. He is the sole person to blame. He had so many opportunities to stop this.
If you look back at the adpocalypse that took place on YouTube, we all got so hard. There was years of the revenue being dog. I lost 90% of my ad revenue when that happened, and I didn't have sponsors at the time. That was 100%. That was all my income was from that.
When the apocalypse was happening, were you?
Sorry, I didn't see that. Casey has the dumbest sounding voice. See, I thought my voice was kind of nasally, but Casey just genuinely. And I'm on Reddit too, but Casey sounds like a Redditor.
Mad at the people who pointed out that ads were on ISIS videos?
Yes.
David Dad, we're up
The
and up.
nuke headed for Hasan turned around, penetrated the Iron Dome, and it hit the Teddy Fresh offices. I'm sorry, but that is so incredibly hilarious. Of course, Ethan then went to Instagram to write, "I'm going to answer this because I've seen Eli getting enough from scumbags on the internet. This is someone she has had an existing relationship with. They have never had an issue with any of our conversations over the years. There is no reason for the shortness of the
controversies. Learn how to read.
Answer, as they've been amicable and friendly until now. They're also a Hasan fan and active in online activist circles that target us. You like to hope that people can prioritize a personal relationship and see through the bullshit people say about us, but it's not always like that. Also, don't know why some of you guys have a hard time believing this. Brad Does Music was literally canceled for taking a picture with us and forced to apologize. This has been a constant issue for Israeli artists since October 7th. Yeah, if you run defense for the IDF and say that 2-year-old Palestinians are taught to kill Americans, this should happen to you. I mean,
show that clip. If they said that is kind of a crazy take, but you've been showing a lot of clips. Show that.
In the same episode, only minutes earlier, Ethan called out creators for Palestine because apparently raising $1.6 million is negligible and doesn't actually help people in Palestine. Take a wild guess as to who was one of the main organizers of that charity event.
Creators for Palestine raised $1.6 million. That's fantastic. Literally negligible. They've received billions of dollars. It's a good thing. Has $1.6 million had an outcome on anything happening in Gaza? Absolutely not. Has it helped people? Sure.
I'm sure
Has
that's
it helped
true.
The actual movement? No. Raise money. That's good. That's the easiest thing you can do is just give money, right? Good. Let's talk about real activism. Let's talk about enacting meaningful.
I was having this internal debate with myself with the whole concept of people keep saying work harder, you need to just do more, donate more. The problem isn't with the effort that is put in. The problem is with the whole infrastructure around it. All of the things that are built on the backs of the people, and that is the issues that we all have in all of our lives, not just in the Israel-Palestine conflict. Donating more money to them isn't going to help if the things are going to keep causing more more debt and more costs.
Change, total failures.
Like, yeah, no wonder people don't want to work with you guys. Nearly 100 of some of the most popular YouTubers and Twitch streamers were a part of that. You're just guaranteeing that you're hating.
See, I 100% believe that that's a bastardization of what Hila said, because I don't believe that she said 2-year-old Palestinians are learning to kill. That's just such a crazy statement. But again, if it was a real clip, I feel like he would just show it. I mean, that's fine. Clip it. Even if it's out of context. Like I said, the context for that I don't think would save it, but show it if that's verbatim what she said.
Across the internet at that point.
It's not real activism. It didn't make a single difference in Gaza. He's lost his mind. It's crazy how much I used to look up to H3. They were the fathers of fair use, and now he's just sitting here crashing out for days on end because Hasan Piker won't watch his silly little class project. That $1.69 million, and I put the 9 there because it was $1.693 million, so it's pretty close to 1.7, so we'll round up. That $1.69 million helped so many individuals, and no, it absolutely did not solve the crisis. That's not what we set out to do. If we had the power to do that, we would have done that 1,000 times over, but no amount of YouTubers coming together is going to solve what's happening in Gaza. We wanted to do 2 things: use our platform to spread awareness and help in the ways that we can and raise the money that we can. And if you can't understand that, Ethan, if you can't mentally understand that that's activism, you're an idiot. We pull together creators from every single corner of the internet, people who have nothing in common, people who have never, ever talked about any political topic in public.
Aren't some of those people that were promoting this millionaires? I feel like raising $1 million probably isn't a whole lot, considering that you probably could have just gotten generous donations from the creators themselves. And that's not to say that people have to give up all of their money, but who gives a shit? Like, we were trying to help in the way that we can. Why are you criticizing us? We were trying to do our part, and we're saying that it wasn't good enough. I mean, you can argue with that. That is like an arguable perspective, but
public, and we got them to speak out about Palestine. The whole point was to get people who have never talked about these kinds of issues, who have never cared about these kinds of issues, and put them in front of them. And I think we did exactly that. From the Try Guys to Curtis.
Calling anything a school project when you all of the stuff that Twitch streamers do outside of Twitch streaming is literally school projects. All of the events they put on, all this, it's literally like talent shows, but like middle school talent shows where they're like, I'm going to do a juggling but with 2 balls because I'm still learning.
Curtis Connors, to everybody that we had together in that room, and reached so many corners of the internet and reached so many more people than we'd ever had before. That's activism. And then beyond that, VidCon was 2 weeks later, and I can't tell you how many creators came up to me and said, thank you for doing that, asked on how they could be a part of the next event we do, asked what they could do from their own communities and their own platform because they've been terrified to speak out. But seeing guys like Curtis Connors, seeing guys like the Try Guys put their whole platform.
And see, what you just said is true. He's great for organization, but organization is half the battle. You got to organize and actualize, and that is the hardest part.
Platforms out there on the line and say, I don't care what the U.S. government says about where they're going to send their dollars and who they're going to weaponize. I'm going to support this human rights violation. That's the activism, Ethan. It's using your platform to spread awareness. And on top of that, you're just implying that none of us did anything else. Lots of us marched at rallies. Lots of us spoke to our lawmakers, called our senators, called our local government officials, and made it very clear this is an issue to us. And here's a clip from his Content Nuke where he talks about how he donated $6,500 to Palestine.
I mean, that's cool. If that's true, you probably should have made a video about that, explaining the steps and the process to do that so that your fans can then do the same to make a meaningful change. I mean, like a single piece of mail is probably going to get thrown aside for a while. I mean, if they're getting overwhelming letters, then that might help.
Despite what you've read on TikTok and Twitter, I've donated $6,500 to a Palestinian charity after the war started.
Hey, Ethan Klein, thank you for the donation.
And again, I'll even say for Ethan's sake, that's not a good argument to make because you're a millionaire. Any amount, they'll just argue you could have done more. And I'll make that argument too, just because it's like who cares, because it's always negligible. There's always more that you can do. So trying to say that you've done a bit is never going to be enough for those who want to criticize you.
Oh no, Ethan Klein gave $6,500.
When he was called out about this on Twitter and on Threads.
H3 Jeopardy. I'll check out your H3 Jeopardy series. Yeah, for sure.
He decided to.
That's like the perfect thing of what I'm trying to do with this kind of little pre-show thing.
after Stanzi Potenza and go out of his way to say, how much money did you personally donate? That's such a stupid conversation point. So many creators, because I run Creators for Palestine. I see the back end. I see every donation. I can't tell you how many creators donated $10,000 plus $25,000 and more, but didn't make a public statement about it and didn't try and say, hey, look at me, I'm a good guy. I did something that's the most basic human necessity. Hey, I'm a millionaire, so I decided to give some of my money. And unlike Ethan, didn't make it a shield to say, hey, I don't have these horrible political beliefs. No, because I donated $6,500 to Palestine. Therefore,
and this is exactly what I was saying. It's just not a good, there's never a reason that people are going to accept it.
Or I made a difference. And then he's going to come out and criticize Creators for Palestine. And for what? Ethan, I was a massive fan of you growing up. I can't tell you how much I looked up to you as the father of fair use and for dunking on horrible, cringy people on the internet, but you've become exactly what you were against back in the day. You have the kind
I just love that he keeps saying that. What the fuck does this have to do with fair use? He keeps saying that. You were the father of fair use, bro, but now you're against everything you fucking preached for, dog. That shit's fucking whack. I don't get what he's talking about.
Kind of life people dream of. You're a multi-millionaire, you got your kids, you have everything you could want, and you spend every day sitting on the internet crying and whining and moaning. Get offline and get your mental health in order. You have absolutely lost it. And don't you dare ever disrespect Creators for Palestine or any other charity again. When you're sitting there talking, you're calling us to do some real act.
Or what? Or what? Or what? What are you gonna do? Or what? No, it's just the funny thing to say, don't you ever. Okay.
Activism. What the hell have you done? Was your content new real activism? Was telling everybody that, oh my God, big reveal, Hasan Piker's a socialist. Of course he's a socialist. He's been a radical socialist. The whole time, that's who he's been. That's not real activism either. So why don't you get off, go enjoy your millions of dollars, your wonderful life, and then do some real activism if you care about it, instead of sitting in your stupid podcast chair, yelling at your employees, treating everybody you know like crap. Because, you know, Ethan, multiple people in your life haven't spoken to you because they're nervous of how you'd react in public, but privately, tons of your friends have talked to me and to others about how worried they are about you.
Tons of your friends? Just out them, bro. Just say a name. That just seems stupid. I think Ethan has real friends, like actual, like real life friends that aren't just other creators on the internet. Because I heard Ethan I remember him saying at one point he has other Jewish friends, like people that he knows. It's just so weird. These people that are just like, your friends are coming to us. It's probably like fucking iDubbbz or some shit, just some fucking someone that they talk to, they're in a good relationship with, but not like a close, like personal friend. Like, it's just so funny. Who? Just say who.
You and your mental,
because I'm gonna just say that it's not someone close to him if you're not gonna say who it is.
Health, because you've absolutely flying off the handle. Get it together.
Ethan then went to Instagram to try and make amends, I guess. But he really just doubled down. Oh look, another dipshit leftist lying about me on Twitter. Anyone remember me saying this yesterday? If I thought raising money is a bad thing, why would I donate $6,500 of my own money? By the way, since you bring it up, how much did you personally give? The fact is that raising money is negligible when you are helping the ethnic cleansing candidate win. This is a concept that is so obvious and easy to understand, but somehow when faced with criticism of their surface level and ineffective activism, they turn into lying baby brain propagandists. Ethan say money bad. Either you are dumb as or just a straight up liar. Either way, you scumbag. I have zero patience for anyone participating in this pathetic hate bandwagon. I'm not really sure what he means by helping the ethnic cleansing candidate win. I mean, he himself voted for Kamala. Wasn't she the vice president during the ethnic cleansing? And didn't she...
Are we just not going to bring up that Trump said he's going to turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East? The fuck are you talking about? Just shut the fuck up. You can't talk about what Kamala could have done when we're seeing what Trump is planning on doing.
Say that if she won the presidency, she would change nothing about what Joe Biden did in Palestine?
President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I am unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
But no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done.
So in the end, the nuke did detonate. just on the wrong target. I mean, guys, you're big boys. There are consequences for your actions, and targeted hate and harassment campaigns against very popular people on the internet is probably not going to end well, especially when you yourself, over the past year and a half, have really just been a bad faith actor in this whole Israel-Palestine discussion. You say you're pro-Palestine, but almost every day you talk shit about people that are pro-Palestine. You say you don't support the Israeli government, but whenever they bomb a hospital, you say, there's no way they did.
You're not monolithic. You're fucking stupid. You say you support Palestine, but you criticize other Palestinian supporters? That's literally what you're doing, dumbass. You support Palestine. You're criticizing Ethan, who says he supports the Palestinian cause. You're a fucking idiot. Like, what?
Did that?
I'm sorry. I'm flying off the hinges a little bit. That part just really what?
Under hospitals, they shoot from schools, they embed themselves in the civilian population. They even dress as civilians when they fight.
You're obviously under the impression that Hasan hate videos get clicks.
Wait, what was?
They're under hospitals, they shoot from schools, they embed themselves in the civilian population. They even dress as civilians when they fight.
You're using that as if he's saying that's justification for them committing war crimes, when he's literally said Bibi Netanyahu is a war criminal. He said that he said that Israel needs to not, like, it's just, I'm not gonna hit the greatest hits right now of that, but yeah, Casey, I wish I could dislike it twice.